Good morning and welcome back. It is a chilly morning here in Western Maryland. The past several days have been really cold. This morning when we got up it was about 6 degrees, I think, which is cold for our area. I know there are other areas that see much colder weather than we do. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys today. Today is Wednesday, and you guys know that my plan is to do my shopping and everything while I'm out on Thursdays, but I think my husband's going to be home early today, which is not something that happens very often. And so I might go do my grocery shopping today. Tomorrow we have bass lessons, as you guys know, and then I'm taking Aaron to meet my mom, and he's going to spend a few days with her, and we'll pick him up on Sunday. So I might go do my groceries this afternoon, and I might go by myself, which is always a much needed break, especially during the school year. So anyway, but what I wanted to talk to you guys about was whether we actually need a budget. And I guess I was thinking about this because I have decided to cut our grocery and household budgets, the portions of our budget, and some other categories by a little bit more. And really we were kind of tight before, but there are some things that we are going to have to be spending money on. Usually we count on an income tax refund to help level all that out. We haven't done our taxes yet. We're still waiting on paperwork, but I don't know what that's going to look like this year. I don't know what has changed, but either way, it's not something we want to have to depend on. But some of our kids are needing some things. We are needing some things. We have a vehicle repair that needs to be made to my husband's truck. He needs a water pump, and that's going to be about $100 for the part and $100 to have it installed, because he said it's just something he feels more comfortable outsourcing to have done. And so our neighbor does mechanics on the side, and he's going to get that done for us. That truck needs registration, which is $137.50 for 1 year in Maryland, and that truck is 22 years old. So we have that coming up. Our wood stove fans, one is not working at all, the other one is just kind of working, and so they need replaced because it's making it harder to heat the whole house. We've been shutting off our bedroom all day long and then just turning the heat on. We have a little space heater, turning that on at night to warm it up a little bit. But this is a fairly drafty room, and so it's not staying warm anyway. Our daughter is going to college, and we have to go visit the college before she goes and then take her this year. So that's an 8-hour drive each way. There's just a lot of stuff coming up, and so we're trying to edge things back as much as possible. Now, that being said, some of the most frugal people that I have ever known or heard of don't have a budget, right? Like the one family I'm thinking of in particular, they just said, we just spend as little as possible. We don't need a budget. And I can see that thought process to a certain extent. And I kind of was thinking about this as I'm thinking, okay, I had initially planned for $1,000 a month for our groceries, and I've eked it back, and we're gonna aim for no more than $880 a month. I've cut my fund money, my allowance, whatever, in half. So instead of $80 a month, I'm going to have $40 a month. Our household budget, I've edged back $5 a week, which will save us $20 in a month. Our fuel budget, I've edged back $10 a week. So saving us $40 over a month. I'm trying to get all of these things done. And why am I doing this? Why am I not just saying I'm going to spend as little as possible? Because ultimately that's the goal, right? If my grocery budget is $880 a month, that doesn't necessarily mean I want to spend $880 a month. And so some people would just say, I'm just spending as little as possible. I don't need a budget. I have to buy what I have to buy anyway, and I'm just keeping it as cheap as possible. Why does that not work for me? And I think part of it is just a difference in mindset. Some people their brains work differently. And so for my brain, that doesn't necessarily work. It causes a lot of anxiety if I don't know exactly what we have and where it needs to go. So, of course, if I can get gas for under $60 a week, I'm not going to try to drive more so that I can spend more in gas. I'll just roll it over for the times whenever we have to make a few more trips in a week and we can't do that. And by the way, yeah, I know that's a lot for gas. $60 a week is a lot for gas in my van, but it gets about 15 miles to the gallon. It is about 1.5 gallons each direction to go to town, 1.5 gallons each direction to go to church a couple of times a week, co-op, any of that. Anyway, I know it's a lot, but that's what we have budgeted. So why do I use a budget whenever nobody else seems to, even though I don't want to spend everything that I've budgeted for? And I think it comes down to knowing where the ceiling is. Otherwise, I could say, I'm just going to spend as little as possible on groceries and buy the things that I think I need and have it be $1,500 in a month, which would be very easy to do with a family of 9. And say, well, I just spent as little as I could spend, but that money has to come from somewhere else. I think the only way that it works to not have a budget at all for things like that is to have an income that is way above what you absolutely have to have. For us, we just can't do that. We're bringing home $1,000 a week, and that used to sound like a lot of money to us, but over half of that is bills. Another 1,000 of it, or close to it, is our groceries. That doesn't leave a lot, right? So, unless I know where the ceiling is, what is the absolute maximum that I can spend, I can use, I'm just spending as little as possible as an excuse. And I think it has become that for a lot of people. Not everybody, of course, who doesn't work with a written budget, but for most people. I need to know that this is how much I could spend at the absolute most for groceries, and this is what I can spend at the absolute most for household. For example, this week I had to order filters for our refrigerator for the water. I didn't have any on hand, and I know it's been a couple of months, and so I had to order that, and that was $25 for 2 of them out of my $40 a week household budget. So I know that I only have $15 left for household items for this week. If I'm just saying, I'm just frugal, I'm just only going to buy what I need, and then I find out, oh, I need to replace that, and I need to buy this, and we need toilet paper, and toilet paper is $12 now, or whatever. It's really easy to go beyond that because I don't know where the boundaries are. And this can be true in so many areas of our life, but this just specifically for budgeting, you need to know what the max is. That doesn't mean you have to spend it. You don't have to use it as an excuse for extravagance, but you need to know that if I spend more than this on household items and this on groceries and this on gas, then I'm not going to have the money set aside that I know I need to budget for new shoes for a kid. Or I'm not going to have money to do the vehicle registration that only comes a certain time every year. All of these things that you have to balance in your mind and wrap your brain around, you're not going to know, or I don't know how to balance that all if I don't know where the cap is. And some people I know just spend what they have to spend, pay it off the next month, start over. And I guess there's no wrong way to do this, but I'm just explaining why for me I need a written budget, even though I don't want to spend everything I've budgeted for. I just need to know where those boundaries are. So I'm curious to know how you guys feel about this. Do you have a written budget? Do you feel like you can just spend as little as possible and keep that all in check? Like for me, if I was just saying, I'm just going to spend as little as possible, I'm just going to buy the things I need, I would only go to Walmart, right? I would just go and buy everything, my groceries, my household items, and get the best deal there. but I wouldn't have the motivation to cost compare across different stores, whatever, get the most that I can, because I would just say, well, I'm doing my best, instead of having to fit within that limit. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and I'm curious what you think, how you feel about this. So leave me a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.